Maulana Sayyid Ruhullah Wahidi, renowned world-class Qari and teacher of Qiraat and Tafsir of the Holy Quran, will be teaching us about the Ahkam of Salat, as well as some important things to know about the end of Ramadan, fasting, fitra, and fidya. Several Maulana students will be joining us today in the program to share the beautiful and elegant recitation of the Holy Quran. So today's program schedule is the recitation of the Holy Quran by Ariba and Arusa from Canada, Surah Al-Fatiha for the Marumeen by Ali Zaidi, followed by a student presentation on the summary of the lessons on building our faith from the ground up by Syed Asad Jafi, led by Noor Fatima and Zahra. Then Maulana will grace us with the recitation of the Holy Quran and a discussion, followed by Dua for Shifa by Hussein Husseini, and Dua Imam Zamana by Abis Rufani, and Ziyarat and Dua followed by questions from Maulana. Salawat. Now we'll begin the program. So we'll like to ask Ariba and Arusa to begin their recitation of Surah Taqweer.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. إذا الشمس كورت وإذا النجوم انكدرت وإذا الجبال سعيرت وإذا العشار عطلت وإذا الوحوش حشرت وإذا البحار سجرت وإذا النفوس زوجت وإذا الموءودة سئلت بأي ذنب قتلت بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا الشمس كورت وإذا النجوم انكدرت وإذا الجبال سيرت وإذا العشار عطلت وإذا الوحوش حشرت وإذا البحار سجرت وإذا النفوس زوجت وإذا النفوس زوجت وإذا الموءودة سئلت بأي ذنب قتلت وإذا الصحف نشرت وإذا السماء كشطت وإذا الجحيم سئرت وإذا الجنة أزلفت علمت نفس ما قدرت فلا أقسم بخنس جوار القناس والليل إذا ساسا والصبح إذا تنفسا إنه لقول رسول كريم ذي قوة عند ذي العرش مكين مطاع ثم أمين. وما صاحبكم بمجنون. ولقد رآه بالأفق المبين وما هو على الغيب بضنين. ما هو بقول شيطان رجيم فأين تذهبون. إن هو إلا ذكر للعالمين لمن شاء منكم أن يستقيم. وما تشاءون إلا أن يشاء الله رب العالمين.
Barakallah, mashallah. Thank you.
So now I'd like to ask Ali Zaidi will be saying Surah Fatiha for all of Marvin.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin.
Now I'd like to ask, now we'll have students, we'll have a student presentation by Noor, Fatima, and Zahra. So I'd like to ask them to.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Reflecting/notes on speech. Made by me, Fatima, and Zara. This is the speech for day 2. The actual meaning behind the word deen is simply a belief in a sort of supernatural source for the world, and the behavior that corresponds with this belief. In other words, believing in something that rules the world and acting on what you believe in. These two things I just mentioned, believing and acting, work together to form what we call religion. A religion. The belief that the world was created by chance and has nothing to do with the supernatural source creating it. Reflection. Based on the general definition of both of these terms, it's showing that a wide range of people that don't believe in God must not have a true understanding of what religion really is. Day 3 speech. Worldview. A collection of harmonious beliefs of man and the universe. Religion and worldview are linked because of these 3 questions that every human asks themselves at some point in their life. Where did everything come from? The origin. Where is everything going and to what end? The purpose. What should be done in the meantime? Destination. Worldview is meaningless if it doesn't give you the answers about what you're doing here, why, then there is no point of it being there. Reflection. If someone cannot answer these 3 questions with confidence, then it's showing that they have no reason not to believe in God since there's no proof that there isn't one. Whereas with religion, all 3 of those questions are answered. Day 4 speech. Looking into religion is worth doing because you will not lose anything from doing so. For example, simply looking into religion and believing in it can give you eternal happiness, or what we know, heaven. But if by chance you are wrong about what you believed in during your life, what did you lose? Nothing, which is the exact reason why there's no purpose in at least investigating religion. Now on to Fatima.
Day 5. In this lecture, Maulana covered the concept of epistemology. Epistemology is the theory of knowledge that deals with acquiring knowledge. As Maulana mentioned in his speech, there are 4 kinds of epistemology. 1. Empirical epistemology. Empirical epistemology is acquiring knowledge hands-on. Traditional epistemology. This is knowledge which is passed down by cultural writings and work. Mystical epistemology. This is through dreams and is not the most reliable source. Rational epistemology. This is based off of reason and common sense. Day 6. In this lecture, Maulana talked about the innate desires of man. Man seeks perfection and has a need to worship something greater. This is shown throughout history, with almost all people worshiping someone or something. Man also wants perfection. Nobody likes imperfect things, so all humans are attracted towards perfection. Day 7. In this lecture, Maulana talked about the difference between the 2 different kinds of worldview. Material worldview. This type of worldview is matter-related, empirical, and worldly. Divine worldview. Divine worldview is more based on the metaphysical, intellectual, and spiritual aspect of things. Zahra will be covering the next couple of lectures.
Okay, I don't think Zara is here. Hamza, can you go to the next part of the program? We'll cover that next week.
May Allah continue to grant all of us the tawfiq to learn and teach the blessed religion of Allah through the Holy Quran and Ahlul Bayt. Our respected and knowledgeable Maulana Wahidi teaches one-on-one and group classes to students every day, so we encourage you to enroll now while he is available to teach online during the pandemic. So we encourage you to benefit from the extra time we have now to learn from this great scholar. So please contact Maulana to sign up for classes, for individual classes or for adults and children. Maulana Wahidi has been teaching us lessons from the Quran and teaches us important topics of akhlaq from the life of Masameen. So we would like to encourage all community members to join us for a weekly Sunday program with Maulana Wahidi at 1:10 p.m. In addition to the weekly program, Maulana Wahidi and students in Afghanistan do a Khatm Quran for the marhumin of the sponsors. And to sponsor the weekly program, please contact Sister Fatima Jafri. A very important message for all is to please join us daily in the month of Ramadan for a daily Quran and Tafsir program with Maulana Wahidi at 6 p.m. on the IZF and the YouTube channel. Salawat. So now I'd like to ask our esteemed scholar Maulana Wahidi to begin with Quran recitation, followed by speech.
Assalamu alaikum jameen wa rahmatullah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وضرب الله مثلا للذين آمنوا امرأة فرعون إذ قالت رب ابن لي عندك بيتا قالت رب ابن لي عندك بيتا في الجنة ونجني من فرعون وعمله ونجني من القوم الظالمين. ومريم ابنة عمران التي أحصنت فرجها فنفخنا فيه من روحنا وصدقت بكلمات ربها وكتبه وكانت من القانتين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. إجماع الصلوات. صلى الله على محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We started talking about wajibat namaz. We talk about the niyat, we talk about the qiyam, and also takbirat al-ihram, ruku', sajda. Number 6 is qira'at, the way that you recite your namaz is very important. In the qira'at, there is a surah and hamd. You cannot replace them. For example, you cannot recite first surah and then hamd. Hamd should always be at the beginning. And you cannot just recite every surah. For example, some surahs like Surah Duha must be recited with Surah Inshirah. So 2 surah are considered 1 surah. Or Surah Fil must be recited with Surah Quraysh. It means you cannot just recite Surah Fil. Also, you cannot recite 1 ayah of Quran. It must be complete surah. And you cannot recite the surahs that they have sajda wajib as well. So the qira'at is actually very important, and it's makruh to recite same surah in the first and second rakat, except Surah Qul Huwallah, Surah Tawheed. That means if you recite Surah Tawheed in the both rakat, it's going to be fine. And the main thing is the pronunciation, the talaffuz. That means you should know how to recite Surah Hamd and other surah. That means you cannot just recite the way that you like. No, it must be pronounced properly from its own makhraj. For example, Alhamdulillah, I'm going to recite it, Surah Hamd for you. So you can inshallah listen to it again from the YouTube. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. اهدنا الصراط مستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. سورة توحيد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. It should be exactly like this. For women, it's optional to recite morning and Maghrib and Isha loud if there is no non-mahram around them. For example, in the morning, if there is no non-mahram in the house, so you can recite it loud. Also, you can recite it slowly with yourself. But for men, it's wajib, it's obligated that they should recite it loud. Morning, Maghrib, and Isha. Hamd and Surah must recite loud. So it's about the morning and Maghrib and Isha. But Dhuhr and Asr, anyways, Hamd and Surah should not be recited fast. It should not be recited loud for men and women. So again, for women, there is an option. If there is no non-mahram in the house, in the room, so they can recite it loud. If there is non-mahram, they cannot recite it loud. And the main thing that I said is talaffuz, that you have to concentrate on the talaffuz and the pronunciation of the letters and the huruf, ada'ul huruf. It's called ada'ul huruf. And also the surahs that they choose, they must be good surah. That means they cannot, good surah means like, that means a complete surah. So that means they cannot recite Surah Dhuha alone without Surah Inshirah. If they want to recite Surah Dhuha, they have to recite Surah Inshirah as well. So both surahs are considered one surah. And also the niyyat, the Bismillah, every surah has its own Bismillah. For example, if I want to recite Surah Tawheed, I have to say Bismillah with the niyyat of Surah Tawheed. If I say Bismillah with the niyyat of Surah Inna A'tayna and I recite Surah Qul Huwallah, my namaz becomes batil and it's not good. That means intentionally, if I do that, that means the namaz is going to become batil. So any surah has a Bismillah, and Bismillah is only for that surah, even the same spelling, same pronunciation. So that was about the qira'at, inshallah. If you have any question, I will be glad to help you and answer your question, inshallah.
So if you have any questions, you guys can put in the chat box or you can unmute.
Do you have any question about the wajibat? What is the question? Hamza Jan, there's a question in chat room.
Says, do we need to restart the surah if we say the Bismillah for another surah?
Yes, of course. Guess like you want to recite Surah Inna A'tayna, you say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, but you say the niyyat of Surah Tawheed. Oh, suddenly I said, you know what? I'm going to recite Surah Tawheed. Then I have to recite another Bismillah because it's a mistake. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Qul Huwallahu Ahad, because that Bismillah is for the Qul Huwallahu Ahad. And also at the end, it's mustahab to do the Sajda Sahwa as well.
For the end of Ramadan, can you explain fitra and how much do you give?
Yes. First of all, fitra, you can even give it now to the marja or the representative of marja. And the fitra must be first given to the people around you. That means if you have a poor people around yourself, you cannot give it to outside the country. This is the law about the fitra ahkam. And it's each person is $10. For example, like 5 people in the house is a $10 each. It's going to be $50. And the father or whoever is the one who is in charge of income, he's the one who's going to pay the fitra. And also you can do it before Eid as well, but the wajib time is the night of the Eid, the eve of the Eid, the Maghrib Ghurub of the eve of the Eid. For example, if tomorrow is Eid, tonight at the eve, at the Maghrib time, Ghurub time, it's going to become obligated upon me to pay the fitra, zakat fitra. And if you're not Sayyid, you cannot give it to Sayyid. If you're Sayyid, you can give it to non-Sayyid. And fitra is, you cannot collect the zakat fitra by yourself. You need permission from the marja. If you don't have the permission from the marja, so don't do it, because it's mas'uliyat, is responsibility, Islamic responsibility. So you can just, you have a choice about your own zakat, not about other people's zakat. Like some people go, you know what, give me your zakat, I want to give it to this person, that person. We cannot do that. It's something wajib. It's not like sadaqah, it's wajib. So only the marja and the representative of marja is the one who is in charge of the collecting zakat. What is the question?
Explain fidya for fasting and how much to give and by when.
The fidya is for the food of the faqir. It's definitely should, you should buy food for the faqir, or you give someone you trust that person buy the food for the faqir. So that's a $5 per day. For example, 30 days is going to be $150. And that should be given to the faqir as a food, not as a money. Any other question?
When should fidya be given?
Sure, anytime, if you if it's obligated upon you, you can start even now. But guess like you're sick and you don't fast this year and you don't make it up until next year, so you have to pay fidya. You're pregnant, you have to pay fidya. If you're sick permanently, you have to pay fidya. If you go travel and you don't make it up until next year, then you have to pay fidya plus the qaza. And when it's obligated upon you, then you have to give it out as soon as possible.
Does the head of a household give fidya for dependent?
Yes. Guess like, but if like in some houses, like is a 50-50, like the wife and a husband both work, right? So they should negotiate, like for example, 60-40, 50-50. So like, guess like they both pay the bills. So both of them should pay. But if it's only a husband is responsible for everything, for the bills and charge of everything, so the husband is gonna pay.
Thank you, Maulana, for
welcome.
enlightening us.
Jazakumullah khairan.
So now we have Amma Yujibu by Hussein Husseini, and then we have Dua Imam Zaman of the Hafiz, and then Zia. So now we'll have Amma Yujibu recite by Hussein Husseini, and then Ziyarat Dua Imam Ismail.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه يكشف السوء 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 اللهم صل.
السلام عليكم رسول الله، السلام عليكم أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليكم فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام عليك حسن المصطفى، السلام عليك أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت هناك. عليك مني سلام الله أبا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعل الله آخر لك مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليكم غريب الغرباء، السلام عليكم وأن يزوف الفخر، السلام عليكم مغيث الشياعة وزوارق الجزاء. السلام عليكم الحسن علي موسى الرضا والمشفين والشفي والدينا في الجزاء. صلوات الله وعلى آبائك السبع وأبنائك الأربع واختلافات مثل معصوم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا صاحب أسر زمان، الأمان من فزنا شر الشيطان. السلام عليك شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا مؤنس وجان. أرجو الله تعالى فرجك وصلاة على مخرجك وظهورك وجعلنا من أنصارك. وعليك السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم كل وليك الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمطنه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى